Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. And this watch is a Rolex Certified Pre-Owned Oyster Perpetual Cosmograph Daytona from the 1990s. This is a 16520 and 904L steel, 40 millimeters. It is a Zenith era Primero powered Rolex Daytona. This one is an excellent daily driver, and I'll show you why that is in just a moment. It's a T series, so approximately 1996, and then we have a V series clasp with a 78390 bracelet and 503B end links, so also corresponding to 1996. 40 millimeters in diameter. It is 12.5 millimeters thick, 46.8 from lug tip to lug tip, with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. You can see the Oyster bracelet, polished center links. We have hollow center links, pivoted end links. It's a very old school Rolex rattle type of feel. You can see on the underside, there you go, 503B end links. We'll take a look now at the clasp as well as the removable links, which are fixed in place using screws. The clasp features a stamped link-like pattern on its exterior, which remains sharp and well-defined. We have several different positions to re-anchor the bracelet if we want to fine-tune the fit. It closes and then a clamshell lock secures it in place. Taking a quick look now, we'll get a better sense of the inside of the clasp and some of the markings within it that illustrate this watch's story. You can see right there, 78390, and that it is a V series corresponding to 1996, so everything lines up well. The case is 904L steel, and of course 904L steel is a type of high nickel content steel that does not corrode if you fail to rinse it immediately. Sweat, sea salt, certain types of industrial solvents and acids can cause conventional 316L to corrode despite being stainless steel. But this 904, which is what the watch is made of, this will not corrode under those circumstances. Now, the watch is basically the 1988 design. The 1988 design, which was the first 40 millimeter case and the first automatic Daytona, that was made from 88 to 99, and Rolex made very few changes with the rollover to the in-house caliber in 2000, and you could even argue that the 1988 design has been fairly static from 88 to this day, so more than any other Rolex model family, a Daytona made any time between 88 and today looks native, natural, and modern in a way a lot of the other families don't because they've been redesigned so dramatically. The Daytona, since it became automatic, has been largely ageless and enduring. We've got screw-down crowns for 100 meters of water resistance, but though you can see a trip-lock crown is used in steel. 3 dots symmetrical means a trip-lock. Solid case back. Underneath the Zenith Primero-based caliber 4030, we have a nicely preserved tachymetric scale bezel, so lacquer on steel, so you can use the chronograph seconds hand to gauge the speed of an object, such as a car around a racetrack. Let's see if this is wound enough to fire up. There we go, right there. They are true screw downs, not just screw down look. The dial is black lacquer with applique white gold indices, white gold hands, white gold Rolex coronet. We have a tone-on-tone aesthetic with the tracks of the individual registers being steel and textured. And then you can see that this watch doesn't feature a T signature on it, though V code would code for a T signature. So this has probably been replaced by Rolex in service. There's probably something about the original hands and dial that wasn't serviceable, so they used a Rolex service replacement. Because this is a Rolex Certified Pre-Owned watch, it would have received only Rolex original parts. So I want to emphasize that, and that's why I say this watch is a daily driver. It's very collectible. It has enduring value. It is not the most original. If Concord quality is what you're looking for, if excellent overall aesthetic, cosmetic, and functional quality is what you are looking for, this is a superb watch. And one of the benefits of actually having a newer dial on the watch is that it does have luminova. So if you want to see it in the dark, it does have a reasonable amount of luminescence, and you can see it stays quite strong when the lights go down, so your watch will be legible in the dark. Of course, this is an Primero base, so there's no hacking function, and the chronograph works a little bit differently than on a 4130. So we've got a lateral clutch chronograph. In fact, I should probably wind this watch a little bit more. So we have a lateral clutch chronograph, which means there's going to be a bit of extraneous motion when you start up the chronograph action. And so you can see, yep, that little leap, that is indicative of an Primero rather than a 4130. But the column wheel action on the El Primero is exemplary. Automatic winding, 52 to 55 hours of power reserve, because the Rolex version of the El Primero doesn't have a date. It's still 31 joules. They actually changed the beat rate from 5 hertz down to 4 hertz. Not that the El Primero needs any more durability, but Rolex wanted to be safer than safe. Of course, we do have a free sprung balance instead of the El Primero regulator, and we replaced the flat hairspring with a Breguet overcoil. Those two features because this is the Rolex version, and although you can't see it, Rolex also changes the whole El Primero winding system, replacing the rather finicky and delicate, highly spring-based El Primero winding system with the much more robust Rolex Perpetual winding system. And then it gets a 5-position adjustment and a COSC chronometer certification. And these movements were built at Zenith's factory in Le Loc in a special room dedicated to the Rolex project. And these were all very rare watches because at the time, Zenith could only build probably 25 to 40,000 watches a year. The movements were split over several different movement families, several different of Zenith's own models, other clients that Zenith had for its movements, and then finally the Rolex Daytona, which means that production of these from the late 80s through the 90s constrained by Zenith's production, not Rolex's production. And that's very important because Rolex ramped up production immensely once it took the movement in-house and it could provide its own supply. The Zenith calibers are always scarce simply because Zenith was a much smaller company than Rolex, had its own models to tend to and other customers to serve. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. Sapphire crystal, we're into the sapphire crystal era, and this watch is just full of character and real relevant history. It is a collectible watch, though, as I mentioned, this is a daily driver, one you can wear with pride and confidence full time. So reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.
Rolex Certified Pre-Owned watches are backed and authenticated by Rolex. Should any reconditioning be necessary, it will be to a Rolex Certified standard, and any parts invested Rolex Factory Original. Should the initial retail box, paper, and accessory set still accompany the watch, it will be included with the sale. But no matter what, a Certified Pre-Owned box and paper set starts with an outer box, a leatherette travel pouch with suede lining, a warranty card that embodies the 2-year globally valid Rolex-backed warranty. Note this is not a retail warranty, but backed by Rolex and actionable at any of its authorized points of sales and service. A leatherette wallet includes the warranty terms and conditions manual. A holographic hang tag marks this as a certified pre-owned Rolex watch, and a manual details Rolex's values as a company, the certified pre-owned program, care, feeding, service, and use of your Rolex, locations of points of sales and service, and details of Rolex.com. Rolex certified pre-owned watches are backed only by Rolex.